The ring muscle up transition can be very tricky to work on. This tutorial is going to go over a couple of ways that you can prep for your transition work and actually work on the main muscle up transition. Before you get into any technical work on the rings, it's important to make sure that you prep your wrists and your shoulders. I have demos for those that I will link in the description of this video. In addition to that, the Russian push-up is one of my favorite drills for prepping for the ring muscle up transition. I'm going to link to a couple of videos that go into a lot more detail about that movement. Be sure to check those out, especially if you haven't seen them yet, and especially if you are newer to ring muscle up transition work. Before you even work on the actual ring muscle up transition, you want to make sure that you can do a couple of the end range drills. What I mean by end range is that you can hit the top pull-up position or the lock-off position and the bottom dip position. These are key because when you work on your ring muscle up transition, you're going to need to pass through those positions and be able to control your weight in those positions. If you're getting started with your ring muscle up transition work, double check that you can do this top position hold, this lock off with the false grip, and make sure that you can hit your bottom dip position as well. If either of those are super tough for you to do or to hold for even a few seconds, you need to work on that in order to safely work on the ring muscle up transition. The most advanced, quote unquote, transition drill that we're going to go over is the negative plus the transition back through. This is for you if you're at a point where you can do some false grip pull-ups, some dips, and you're kind of getting your transitions, but you're having a hard time linking everything together. What this does is it isolates the transition so you can just work on that without worrying about the pull-up and the dip. I like to start from right here above the rings, control my negative down, pause, and then transition back through. So that, of course, is quite tough. If you don't have that down yet, that's okay. But this is going to be kind of the most complicated of the options that I'll give you here. Option 2 is where a lot of people will start, again, having a baseline of some pull-ups and dips. You'll just work on the negative. So we're starting in that same bottom dip position, controlling, catching in this top pull-up position, and exiting. So not worrying about coming back through yet, just working to build your negative strength, that downward portion of the transition. The final option is the assisted muscle up transition negative. This is good for you if you're a bit earlier in your muscle up journey. We're going to do the whole thing with the feet assisting. So I have my feet lightly on the floor here, and then I am keeping them assisting and passing down into this position, this lock-off hold. Note that whichever progression I was working on, so whether I was transitioning back through the rings, doing the negative, or doing the assisted transition drill, on all of them, I'm making sure to hit the bottom dip and the lock-off top pull-up position. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you need to be able to support your body weight in those positions in order to safely train this. The muscle up transition, whether it's negatives or you're transitioning back through or you're working with assistance, whichever one you're working on, all of this is quite tough. I typically would do one single clean rep at a time. Don't worry about hitting a bunch at once. One clean rep, rest 1.5 to 2 minutes. Try to hit a few sets of that in your session. Maybe you set a timer, work for 5 to 10 minutes. You probably won't do that many, but it will be really useful for you to just get one clean rep, train it that way, and build up your technique over time. Because it's so technical, trying to rep out a bunch just isn't going to be that productive. You can also be a little bit more systematic about it. So maybe in your first week, you do 3 sets of one single rep. The next week, do 4 sets. The next week, do 5. So that's another option too. You don't need to go much past that. Again, we don't need a ton of volume. It's really about very good, clean technical training and practice. Of course, there's a lot more we can get into for the ring muscle up transition, but this should give you a very brief overview of 1, the prereqs for working on it, and 2, some ways that you can be working on it, whether you're more advanced or whether you're newer to ring muscle up practice. Hopefully this helps you. If you have questions, let me know in the comments on this video. I am happy to help you out.